Welcome back, everyone, to our series on innovating Volusia County businesses on how to get online. My name is Zach, and I am the administrative coordinator, and I'll be leading today's webinar on how to conquer social media. With me, as always, is my boss and the site director of the Volusia County Business Incubator, Ms. Connie Garzon, who will also be helping during this webinar as well. If you haven't already, go check out our first webinar on how to make a website. It's really the first step for any business to make sure you have some sort of online presence. That can be found on YouTube, on this channel, or on Facebook where we posted it. Make sure you go check it out. If you have any questions, reach out to us either through the incubator at Volusia County or on VolusiaTechHub.com. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. Let's see if I can share my screen here. All right. So today, like I said, we're going to be talking about social media and how to conquer social media. And social media is kind of a big term that can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. Initially, when someone thinks about social media, there's big three companies that come to mind. And those big three, as kind of referred to, are Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Even though Instagram is technically part of Facebook, it's still sort of its own entity. And the types of posts that you do on Instagram are completely different than that of Facebook itself. But in reality, social media is such a much bigger beast. In fact, there are tens and tens, if not 100 different social medias throughout the world itself that incorporate users and people from all over to kind of get together and share ideas, share thoughts, share passions, and other things just in general with other people. And this is very crucial, especially during what's going on in the world today, which, as we all know, is the COVID-19 pandemic, where social distancing is huge. How do we interact? How do we get that message out to either potential customers or just people that we know and want to stay connected with in the world? So like the slide says, social media is an interactive computer mediating technology, which a bunch of different companies use that do facilitate the creation or sharing of information, ideas, or other interests. And you can see some of the big ones that are down there in that picture itself. So where is social media used? Like I said, it is worldwide, literally everywhere in the world where there is connection to the internet, whether that's via mobile towers or through the internet itself, there are social medias campaign. And Connie asked me to kind of go to this link and talk a little bit about what Wikipedia has to say. And with everything, when it comes to Wikipedia, there are some things on there that are true, some aren't, but we're just going to kind of go over some of the big things real quick as I pull it up here. All right, so social media, not only is it used worldwide, but it's also used by many different types of organizations, whether that's government, whether that's commercial, whether that's education. Everyone pretty much now is using social media in some sort of way. As we look on here, some of these facts are actually a little bit older. There's a little bit higher percentages that go on here. And something that that is coming into context now is such things as Snapchat and TikTok. I'll cover those a little bit during this presentation, but we do have another webinar in a few weeks that actually describe how to use those particular social media platforms a little bit more, what sort of posts you want to put on there, how you want to advertise, and all that good things. But like I said, government is one of the type of organizations that do use this, and you might see this more so on LinkedIn and Twitter, which seems to be more business focused than the Facebooks and the Instagrams and Pinterests. So how they use it, they usually tell about different organizations that's going on. Maybe they're hiring in that government entity. Maybe they just want to push out important information to whoever's following them on those social media. It really isn't used to sell. Government really doesn't use social media to sell stuff as a typical business would. Going into businesses, next that they have here, businesses, we use it for two reasons, right? It is to generate conversation and interest, engage who knows about your business and kind of get the word out, but also turn that interest into leads and hopefully closing the sale. What I do want to caution people on is social media isn't intended to solely close sales. That's not the purpose of social media. The purpose of social media itself is to get those leads, to direct them to your platform, whether that's your website or to your brick and mortar, and that's where you actually conduct the sale. Some people, especially now during the pandemic, are using it more towards sales, and that actually drives away potential customers rather than using it to try to generate those leads. So once again, in a future webinar, we'll talk about posting, what sort of posts you should do on social media to help garner those leads and convert them over to dollars. Politics. Everyone is very familiar with politics, especially we saw how big it got in 2016 election with our current president and how he used social media. He's probably the biggest one, if not is the biggest one ever, to really use social media in different ways. Whether or not you agree with what he posts, he is very active, and his administration uses it very well to their liking, how they want to use it. So they definitely put out their personal information, a bunch of ads on social media to try to persuade voters to vote one way or another, to bring up information on potential competitors to try to dissuade from those. So politics is very big, especially since 2016 with the current administration, and it'll probably only continue to be that way from the future, and if not get bigger with new platforms that will come out. Hiring is also a great way. So coming back into the small business world, and once again, government as well. That's a great way to hire. You want to be careful once again on what platform you use for this. You want to use more towards those platforms that are geared more towards business, such as LinkedIn's. Facebook is a good one for hiring too, but it is used for hiring. And then obviously schools and law enforcement tend to use it more for information that they're putting out, whether that's to their followers, their administrators, their students, or if they're trying to find someone as in law enforcement, just trying to get general information out to the public itself. So once again, this is on Wikipedia. It's a plethora of information, such a huge page on Wikipedia that has a lot of information. If you have the time, go check them out. Just be wary. A lot of it is correct, but some of it is some old information. So just kind of shift through those as necessary. All right.
So, and one of the reasons that we're showing this is because social media is huge. It's actually bigger than any country. Actually, it's bigger than anything. When people ask, oh, should I do social media, especially if they're in business, I say yes. If you want to sell not only in your region, but globally, you have to have an online presence and then do as much as you can to sell your products. And social media is the best way to do it.
Yeah, users on social media is bigger than any population in any country worldwide. So, and as you see in this chart right here, you can see the amount of average minutes that the worldwide user uses on there. I believe it's up to 2 minutes and 22 seconds a day that they're on there throughout the day is the average. And then obviously that higher for certain demographics and lower for other certain demographics. But the potential to reach new customers is definitely there, and everyone should be using social media in some way or fashion.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so speaking a little bit about the different demographics, and as you see, this report from Pew Research is from 2012, so it's a little outdated, as we don't have the Gen Zers on here who have actually outperformed millennials, not on Facebook, but in social media use itself. This is talking specifically about Facebook, and the reason why it's broken down into demographic is once we get into how to use social media, you need to know who your customer is, and part of that knowing your customer is the demographics. And what social media platform that they use, how often they're on it, what times of day they're on it. and how to really target what they're looking for. This also comes from the Wikipedia page, actually, that we just showed. These are the top 10 out of like the 100 or so social media that they do. As you see, Facebook has the most users, and these are millions. So this is 2.5 billion users on Facebook itself. Obviously, it's the biggest one in the United States. This is for all demographics, but worldwide, it has 2.5 billion users. That's literally an unlimited amount of potential customers for your business. So if you don't have a Facebook account, you should definitely have a Facebook account. But like, once again, there are certain ways to use Facebook to make sure that you can actually hopefully attract those customers. YouTube is also a very big one as far as amount of users, but it's also kind of an underrated one, believe it or not, as far as how businesses use it. Because there's so many users, and especially the younger generations, the millennials, the Gen Zers, they like video and picture content. That's where you want to go for your new customers if those demographics are part of who your customer base is. And obviously, as we see, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, who actually are both owned by Facebook, and then in China, WeChat's one of the big ones. One that's on here that's very new but grew very quickly is TikTok, and that is still ripe for disruption in advertising. Businesses are just now starting to do some advertising on there, and the amount of sales that those businesses are doing tend to be close to the same of what they're doing on Facebook, if not better, because once again, the content that's posted on TikTok is video and images, and so it's a new creative way to kind of really target that younger demographic. So once again, in another webinar, we'll talk a little bit more about TikTok and the sort of content that puts on there, as well as Snapchat. So. All right, so we already kind of talked about why social media, or what is social media as it affects business and how it's used in business. And apart from your website, like I said before, every business should be on social media, at least Facebook, if none of the other ones as well. What that social media does for your business, it helps kind of set that solid foundation, as it says here, but also shares your mission and sort of your passion, and kind of creates that more human touch to your potential customers than just what your website will do. Especially when you can't really get to your customers, or if you have a brick and mortar, when we're during a pandemic and they can't come to you and talk to you, that's a great way to kind of reach out and making sure you're having those conversations with potential customers as well. Now, it really helps solidify who you are as a brand or as a business. It obviously helps with brand awareness, as we saw the billions of people that are on social media worldwide. It can help increase web traffic if used correctly. And once again, that web traffic in hopes will turn those and convert them into dollars or sales themselves.
I want to stop here and reinforce what we're saying. You can have the best website in the whole world. I have seen clients that have spent more than $50,000 in websites, but actually, if you don't have a social media strategy that can bring traffic to your website, nothing is going to happen. So, a website and social media work together. So once you finish your website, like in our first class, we talk about how to do a website, right? And now you need to create the strategy to get the word out there. Now the social media strategy is going to help you to promote your website and bring people to that website that are going to buy your products. It's a whole totally different way to do business. You know, before, like long time ago, when I did my marketing and advertising career, internet didn't exist. Yeah, I'm old. Anyway, so before, I learned how to advertise your business in the newspaper, magazines, with flyers, actually with clowns outside of your business, you know, and that's the way we used to do advertising long time ago, before the whole cyber um, war. Now, there is not such thing. People are not walking on the streets. People are not watching TV. So they're not watching TV, so they don't see commercials. They are just in the social media platforms. They're talking with their friends on Facebook. They're watching videos in TikTok, or they're just looking stuff on Instagram, or ladies who are looking for communities, they are spending time in Pinterest. So that's where your clients are. So now the efforts of marketing have to be put on a nice campaign that is going to allow you to show what you have. And social media is the best way to do it. So, and remember, social media is the best way to bring traffic to your website. So therefore, you're gonna be making sales through social media.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is. Yeah, perfectly said. Especially on the TV, that's a big one, especially over the past year and a half or so. As you look at any sort of statistics on TV itself, people are more going towards the sharing services. So they want on demand, they want it now, whether that's TikTok, whether that's YouTube, Hulu, Netflix. They want the 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 new demographic, the younger demographic, especially want that immediate satisfaction, and that's where they're going. Because that's where they can get it on social media. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right. So a target market. So we talked a little bit about demographics, and Connie pointed out some good demographics, especially on Pinterest, and who's on Pinterest. So when you are starting, one of the biggest things is obviously who is your target market, who is your key customer on here, and then figuring out where those key customers are. And there's a lot of tools that are out free on the internet. If you just search for them, there's a lot of free information on demographics, on who the customer is. Once you know who your customer is and sort of where to find them. And Connie, I know you wanted to talk a little bit more about, figuring out who your target market is, who your key demographic is. So I'll kind of pin that over to you.
Yes. So, so in marketing, it's very important to know your customer. You know, I usually do a class here about target market, and you need to think about your audience, who's buying from you. And to know that, you have to ask questions to your customers and see what who they are, how they react. See who's buying from you. Like, for instance, if I am selling vegetarian food in a restaurant, you want to ask your customers where do they live, what do they like. You know, when if you have a brick and mortar business, if you have a restaurant, when you have a chance to talk to your clients, ask questions. You know, because there are ways to for you to know what they do, what's their style, what part of town they live, what are their preferences, do they like to do yoga, do they like to work out outdoors at gyms. Just ask questions to your customers. The more questions you ask to your customers, the better information you're going to have to continue growing your audience, and that's your target market. So target market is the person who is willing to pay money for what is it you need to offer, either a service or a product. Now, if you had identified that your target market are, let's continue talking about vegetarian restaurant, are like people between 30 to 45 or 50, people who like to be just fit, people who have some health conditions. So when you know that, then your campaign is going to be focused on those elements that people like. So let's see that your target market is from 30 to 45 or 50 people who want to just eat right. And then once you know them, then you decide the marketing strategy. Now, if you have a vegetarian restaurant and then you are in Facebook in a group that are barbecue lovers, then you are just sending a message to the wrong audience. You know, that's the thing. So this is very important. So once you know your target market, you are going to find communities, you're going to find groups, you're going to join uh, uh, places that your target market is around, you know, and that's kind of, the more you know your customers, the better for you to sell your products.
Yeah, exactly. Very well said. Especially when we start getting to the different campaigns and how each social media platform allows you to adjust demographics for your campaigns as well. And those are going to be what's going to be important. So you don't waste dollars just doing a blanket campaign to people that you might not reach or not might be a customer. So kind of getting into a little bit more of, kind of diving a little bit more into some of the bigger platforms. This is as of 2020, this one right here. So we kind of talked a little bit about the users that are on each one of them. This chart kind of shows what each one is used for and some of the downfalls. So Facebook, right? So it originally started as connecting with other people in colleges, other college students, and that grew for a few years just to be connected to people, past family members or past friends that you kind of got away with, and just kind of staying with that social connectivity. It did have a year, quite a few years actually, where it started getting more business based, and that, believe it or not, slowed down the growth of Facebook. And recently they're going back to their roots as far as keeping it more social based, which is why it's very important in your posting that you try to keep it more of a engaging content rather than a selling content for business, and you actually reach more people being engaging on Facebook than you can doing it for business. LinkedIn, I think most of us are now familiar with. It's been around for quite a few years. And it kind of broke out and tried to focus more on the business community. And that's a great place if you're a business and you're trying to look for new potential hires, if you're trying to get information on a aspect of your business from other business professionals, if you just want to connect with other entrepreneurs that are in the same industry, it's a great place to do B2B sort of interaction on LinkedIn. Instagram and Pinterest are close to, as far as the content goes, as they are both image-based and image-heavy platforms themselves. The Instagrams tend to have a younger audience age, however, just because that's where they like to go. Once again, they want content. So the type of content that you put on Instagram is going to be more about your experiences, what people do, show awesome pictures, good filters. On Instagram, it's really engaging. Or Pinterest, even though it is also image-based, it's more for like showing things that you've done, especially in business world, things that you've created, and then be able to set up some sort of selling through Pinterest, through a site such as Etsy or something. You can connect it. Those two actually go together very well, Pinterest and Etsy. And then YouTube, we discussed about it a little bit. It is obviously video based, and everything on YouTube is video, including their ads. This is where who Google owns now, by the way, YouTube, but they are very heavily in video. They have both short video and long video. That means like a short means anywhere from 30 seconds to 3 to 5 minutes, to long video, which is anything over that. You do have a certain amount of time in YouTube where you can capture the better engagement in those ads and in the videos. So be cognizant of that. It says all ages on here, but it actually tends to be the younger demographic on YouTube than it does the older demographic, but you do have older demographic on there. And then you have Twitter, which everyone's definitely heard about, especially since the 2016 campaign with our administration. If you weren't aware about it, but prior to then, everyone's aware about Twitter now. Twitter is used for more of an instant communication platform. You have 280 characters. So this is a little wrong when it says 140. They did update it to 280 about a year ago. But it's for quick communications with potential customers. The downfall about Twitter is that when you post something, it has a very short life on Twitter. What I mean by that is it will be in a feed only for a few minutes before other feeds tend to push it out and you won't see it anymore unless people go to your actual profile to read about it. But it is quick communication. It's a way to get quick information out to whoever you want to get it out to and reply back to them as well. So these are kind of the big ones that are active today. All right, so we talked a little bit about strategy. Well, Connie kind of mentioned it. When you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I get on social media? Where do I start? Just like when we talked about in our first webinar, when designing a website, you do want to have a strategy. And that starts with who's your target market, who are the demographics, what are you trying to do on social media? Are you trying just to inform? Are you trying to hire? Are you trying to get leads for sales? So you need to have a strategy, and you can have multiples, right? So depending on what you're doing, you can have multiple strategies for what you want to use social for. And then you plan out which best platforms are going to be for what you're posting out. I'm gonna go back to Facebook just because obviously that's the biggest one, and I really truly believe that everyone should have a Facebook account. It's a great place to kind of put more information about your business. Connie had mentioned earlier this week a great analogy as far as the difference between a brick and mortar business and an e-commerce business. Where you have a brick and mortar, at least you are put in an area where people can walk by and they can see your business. Where when you're on the internet, there's billions of websites that are out there. Unless someone knows that you have that website, they're not going to have anyone walking by. So you don't get that passive marketing that you do with brick and mortars. So Facebook and social media in general is a great way to start getting that passive marketing for your e-commerce or for your online business itself. So you should always have some sort of story in your about section on any of the social media platforms. Be very specific as much as you can. Tell a bit about either the business, if that's what you're promoting, or if you have a personal brand about you, about your story, if that's what you're promoting on social media. Make sure it's engaging, make sure it's compelling, make sure it's honest. Because what you'll find out really quickly, especially with the millennials and the Gen Zers, is they are very quick to find if something's fake. And not only will they not be a customer of yours, but they'll let everyone that they know not to be a customer of yours too, because you're not an honest and true business. So make sure you're honest and forthcoming of who you are, what you guys do. You can talk a little bit about how you get started, or what sort of customers you are, or what you're looking for, what you can offer them, such as the problem and solution thing. And then what's your mission? What is truly your mission? And then does your social media back that up? Are you promoting or are you posting things that are in line with your mission? Or are you just promoting random things that may or may not have a negative impact on what you say your mission is? And then now you're just turning yourself over and digging yourself a hole. And then once again, that kind of goes into that whole honest and fake sort of company, and you're going to lose potential customers from there.
So I'm going to add something here. And I have always said marketing is all about creating content that move people feelings and emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the magic of marketing, is that. So when you tell your story, when you show people your passion, when you show people something that you have and you're selling that is going to help them and is going to solve their problems, of course they're going to buy from you. But you need to make sure the message you're sending to your audience is what they want to hear.
Right.
So that's what you need to talk to your customers and see what they need to solve at this point. And then when you have that feedback from your customers, then you create a content that is going to be relevant and is going to talk to them because they need you. And when somebody advertises something to me that is not selling, it's just talking to me, is when I will buy. Because, remember, people run away from salespeople, but people will be attracted to people that are going to solve the problems without telling, I have something for you that I want to sell. No, it's, I'm here for for you, and I want to help you to solve your problems. And then when you create that message that move people feelings and emotion, is when you might have a lead that is going to be buying from you, and just refer you to other people to buy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that whole selling without selling sort of mindset. Um, and you kind of talked about this a little bit, but I don't know if you have more that you want to go into.
Yes. Yeah, this is very important because, going back to my example of like before the cyberspace, uh, marketing was all about presenting your brand correctly, because it's crucial. It's crucial to have your brand awareness. So now with social media, you need to become an actor, an actress, a model. You need to become somebody that maybe you will not feel comfortable, but you have to do it. So when you develop your marketing strategy to go to social media, if you are the one doing it, you have to make sure that your message is passionate. You have to be positive. You have to talk with energy. You have to present yourself like you love what you do. So you have to be optimistic. You have to be, yes, we're here for you. We're going to solve your problem. We're going to help you to get to the next level. And that energy will help you to get your community to follow you. Because if you are in front of a camera, you are in a Facebook live video, and then you are just like tired, and it feels like you don't want to do anything, or you just don't feel like talking, nobody's going to buy from you. So you have to be passionate, you have to be optimistic, you have to be energetic, you have to be accountable, you have to be credible, you have to persevere, because sometimes when you have these social media campaigns and nobody kind of reach out to you, you feel like you're talking only with a computer or your phone, and you're gonna feel discouraged. But don't, is you have to continue, because this is not happen like overnight. You have to build the content, you have to build the story, you have to record the videos, you have to edit the videos, and then upload to your YouTube channel or your Facebook, and then kind of running again and again until you start seeing that people are following you. But at the end, the message you send to your audience is the message that you're going to receive. You send energy, and you send that you will solve people problems, you're gonna get uh, things back to you. So it's very important how you present yourself and your brand. And the messages, you need, it has to be consistent. Whatever you have in your website, the colors, fonts, logo, it has to be also in their social media. Colors, font, message. Always keep in mind consistency is very important, because that's part of brand awareness. You want to make sure your people remember you even when they're not looking at you. It's about creating brand awareness.
Yeah, and when you build that up, you start building up brand equity, which helps also with your product and service to be able to help increase prices, increase sales as well. So not only want to be aware, but being that honest and truthful and inspirational helps build up your brand equity, which then turns increases your overall value as a business or as your personal brand itself.
Yes. one last thing that I'm gonna say, if you are not comfortable speaking in front of the cameras like me, then you partner with the best, Zach. Zach is the best. He looks great on the camera. He has nice features. He doesn't have an accent like I do. So if you're not comfortable in front of a camera, just partner with somebody that it's great and then do it.
Yep, and that goes, and we'll talk about this later, but it also goes with implementing your social media strategy once you have it all done as well, about partnering with the right people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we talked a lot so far about, what brand is, how social media should be used, the different types of social media networks. And this kind of slide shows kind of a consensus on the experts that are out there on social media and what they consider what social media entails. And we do have some webinars on these. We talked about some of them already in this webinar and in our previous one. But as you see, it encompasses everything from blogs to social networks to forums to gaming, which is on the rise, and it still can be video sharing in virtual worlds, VR specifically, which is also on the rise as well. And there'll be some opportunities for reaching out and sort of those virtual worlds. So this list of 13 things that are big. Don't try to hit all of them at once, right? That kind of goes into your plan. Understand who your target market is, understand where they are, most of them are, and start with that location. Start with the biggest pool, reach out, implement your plan, and try to take that sort of feedback that you get from implementing that plan and seeing if it's working for you or not. If not, that's fine. Like Connie said, don't be discouraged. Go back, reevaluate your plan, maybe try one of these other channels on social media, implement your new strategy for that channel, and kind of keep going until you see a good return of investment, that whether that's likes, whether that's shares, whether that's leads converted to sales, whatever your ROI metric is, and run that until you start seeing a drop in ROI, and then pick another channel, redo another plan, implement the plan, and just keep going. It's all circular. It never stops. And this happens for any new product, any new service, any new offering, any information. This is going and going and going. And kind of like how both of us have mentioned so far, social media is a big beast. It is a lot, especially for a young company, whether you're a sole proprietor or maybe even have two people. You're trying to run, if you have a brick and mortar, your brick and mortar store, or if you're just e-commerce, your e-commerce store, trying to make sure all the bugs are worked out, trying to do the phone calls, trying to do the lead captures, trying to do the conversions, trying to stay on top of it. It is a lot. And that kind of where you have to step back as the CEO or as the business owner and be like, all right, where's my time best spent? Is it worth it for me to try to juggle all these things? Can I do it? If not, do I want to bring someone into the business, either as an employee or as a co-owner, or should I outsource it to someone or a company that this is what they do, who are experts into it? That's all a decision that you have to make as a business owner or a CEO or an executive in a company to really continue to grow your business to the level that you want to get it at.
And I want to add something here that is very important. I have seen the flow, like when you start with your social media campaign, you usually start yourself or with a team member. But if your Instagram campaign or YouTube channel start kind of having a lot of traction, and then you start getting a lot of followers, you need to hire people to help you. Like I follow actually an Instagrammer, and she started only herself. And this nice story, when she started was, she's a young lady in her 20s, and she was heartbroken because she kind of broke up with the boyfriend, and she didn't know what to do. She was depressed, and then she started kind of getting, I need to do something, and she started working out. So she started working out by herself, and then she decided to just record herself when she was doing the workouts. And then she, little by little, she become like, oh my gosh, I like how I look. So her friends started saying, could you please share what you do on Instagram and we're gonna be following you. So this girl started doing her workouts on Instagram. Of course, she looks amazing. Before she didn't look that good. She was very skinny, and now she's started working out. And then people start following her, and now after maybe 6 years, she has millions of followers. I think she has like 60 million followers.
Mhm.
And now she has a team of 50 people working for her. 50 people is huge. And now she has a shake company. She sells shakes. She sells gym, clothes. She sells water bottles. She sells everything on Instagram. And of course, she knows how to market herself. But I mean, she didn't go to school to learn how to be an Instagrammer. She needed to do something and then start doing something she liked and then turn the negative and depressed part of her life and turn it to something fun. And now she's huge and she's making a lot of money.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's huge. You will hire a lot of people to help you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I said, that's a decision you have to make. I agree with you. Most companies or people, for that matter, do start off on their own until it starts getting too much because they're running a successful business and they're also trying to run that social media presence as well, which is crucial. And that's when you have to make the decision whether you bring someone on internally or you outsource. Both are right answers depending on your business and how you want to operate. So. So yeah, so we talked about this already. I think a lot. What do you want to get out of it? This is what's implemented to your plan. Are you looking at just to inform? Are you looking at to get brand awareness? Are you looking at getting leads for sales? Are you looking at to hire? You have to figure out really what you want to get out of social media. What's your purpose? What's your company's purpose of using social media, and then picking the right platform to implement that plan.
Mm.
All right, so how do you get started? So now you've kind of gone through, you've really looked at your target market, you've looked at your demographic, you've done some research, you see that most of your demographic, let's say, is on Facebook. I know here in Volusia County, we have a big medical sort of area for businesses, is big for medical, so there's gonna be a lot of older demographics, and they tend to be mostly on Facebook, is their big social media. So that's where you wanna be. All right, so now you gotta create your profile. Kind of going back to what Connie said about keeping that consistency with your brand from your website, from your brick and mortar over to your social media, you need to do the same thing. So you're going to create a separate page if you are using this for a business purpose and not personal brand, um, uh, a business page that is specifically for your business. You need to have a good uh, profile picture. That profile picture most of the time is going to be a high quality logo that's put into the profile picture itself. Sometimes it can be a product that you are doing. Let's say you're a, a medical hardware company that only has one product that you're starting off with. You can be a very nice picture of that product if you want in that picture, or you can put that in what's called the banner. And what the banner is, it's that sort of rectangular part of, above social media. On the top part of Facebook that's behind your profile picture. And you need to have something back there as well. And that's true for LinkedIn. It's true for Twitter. It's true for all the social media platforms. Pretty much all of them now have both a profile picture section and a banner. Both of those need to be filled out. If you leave them blank or the default, you're going to start losing that faith and trust from potential customers that you don't know what you're doing. You're not really a real business. You're not serious about it. And you're going to lose potential engagement. So the first thing you need to do is make sure that you have good, high quality pictures in both of those areas. Second is to fill out the about section of yourself, just like you do on a website. Fill out a nice detailed about section of your company, of your offering, of your mission, what you can do. Place your website link on your social media, because once again, especially for businesses, 9 times out of 10, it's to kind of create those leads and to complete those sales. So you don't do sales on social media, you do them on your e-commerce site or on your brick and mortar. So make sure you put that website address on there to get them over to your website. And if you have a physical location for brick and mortar, make sure you put your address on there, and drop a Google Maps on there as well. And what a lot of them have now too is the ability to have a call to action button on your social media, so they don't have to search for that stuff. So you can put a button that's right up towards the top, just like you would on a website, that says visit our website or purchase our products or book if you're a booking service or have a service that is booking. Make sure you put a call to action up there as well. Uh, and then you start kind of going out and reaching out to your personal contacts to invite them to like your page, whether that's on Facebook, whether it's on Twitter, whatever it may be. Use your personal contacts first, right? So make sure your profile, though, is really filled out, because once you start hitting those invite sections, when they go to your profile, they're going to take about 30 seconds to look at your profile and decide whether or not they want to follow you because they like your brand, because it's something you're offering, something that solves one of their problems, or if it's bland, they're like, nope, I don't trust this, or they don't look very serious and I don't want to be flooded with a whole bunch of stuff on my feed from them. So as it says in bold, you really do get one chance to make a first impression. And that's true for pretty much anything on your website, on your social media. So make sure it is filled out correctly and well. You have your brand colors, you have your logos, you have your products, you have product pictures on there, and you have the good about you section. Okay, so we talked about the avatar, not using the default one, your profile name. So this is a good one. So a lot of social medias, a lot of social media platforms give you a default name for your new page that you create. What you want to do, once again, it's all about brand awareness, is pick one that is, if you can, pick what your company or name is, if possible, but it may be taken. If it's taken, that's okay. Do a be kind of creative with it. Maybe put an underscore in it, maybe put a dash in it, something that really doesn't change the name of the brand that you're trying to promote or trying to share with people. Don't use different spellings that you have with your brand name or your website name. So try to come up with something that is very similar, if not exactly what your company's name is or what your whatever brand that you're trying to promote is. It's very important. So it makes it easier for people to find you when they're searching for you, and then it kind of helps with the consistency with your brand across all of social media and all of e-commerce and brick and mortar. Another thing you can do, depending on the social media platform itself, is change your URL setting. And if you remember what a URL is, that's that HTTP www dot, that's a URL. So most of them, so if you go to Facebook, it's going to be facebook.com. It's going to have a slash. And then you have, if it's a default, a bunch of random numbers. What you can do on Facebook anyways, is you can change that URL to what's going to be your profile name or your at symbol. So make sure you can change it to whatever it is up there. What that helps with not only for people finding you, but also helps with SEO. And SEO is search engine optimization, especially since Facebook is huge. If you put your brand name up there, it'll help kind of drive up your brand and search results. You can do that in LinkedIn. A lot of people don't do it, but make sure you do it in LinkedIn, and that's for both personal and for business on LinkedIn. Instagram, you can do it. Twitter, you can do it. YouTube is actually one of the most difficult ones to get a custom URL on. They only hold those for highly rated profiles that are on YouTube. Those are the only ones right now that are allowed to get custom URLs. So that one will be difficult, but that's where coming up with a good profile name and that brand consistency on your YouTube page, if you're doing YouTube, is important, so they can find you in the searching in YouTube. We already talked about profile details, having all the details you can on your social media, and obviously putting the website links and or your physical address where you're located, so people can easily find where you are in one location instead of having to Google or go to a whole bunch of different places. People are by default, by nature, lazy. So the more information you can give them in one area, the more likely it is that it's going to be able to convert into those leads, into those sales for you. All right, so Connie talked a little bit about the community, and that's either joining a community or creating a community. What you want to do for there is really decide what's going to be best for you. If you are doing something new and kind of want to be the spearhead for a community, create your own. You can create a Facebook group. You can create a meetup group on meetup.com, which is also a social media one. You can create different hashtags for a specific product or a brand. And what hashtags do, they help kind of sort out different content so people can search by hashtags. Create one that's around whatever you're trying to promote, whatever you're trying to put out to the world, if you will, and be the spearhead about that. If you don't want to, that's fine as well. You can find a group that's similar to what you're offering, whether that's a product or a service. Go join that group. Join a Facebook group. Go to Reddit. Join a community on Reddit where a lot of people talk about stuff and are very open about it, and get active in that community. So whether you are creating one or joining one, make sure you're active. Don't just create one or join one and be dormant, because then that actually has a reverse effect on you as well, because they're going to see that you're not really serious about whatever you have joined or created. So be active, put posts out, ask questions to the community members, comment on what other people put out in that community, and show that you are a subject matter expert in that community, which will help drive up your brand equity as well.
And I'm going to add something here. And I have these experiences, actually. I have a lot of startups that want to start something and they don't want, or it's very expensive for them to start something. And I always say to these clients that if you don't know what to do, you start the community first. Before spending millions of dollars in a building, you spend some time to build something online. Could be, as Zach mentioned, the meetup or the Facebook group. Create a community first, and then once the community grow and you have a lot of followers, then decide if you want to have a brick and mortar business based on what the community is looking for. Right. Now, if you don't have the resource to start a brick and mortar business after the creation of the community, start selling stuff from the community to in your website, and that's how kind of this thing works.
Yeah, and you kind of touched on there a little bit, but the community, whether that's your own group or joining a group, is a great place to do market research. Before you enter a new let out a new service or a new product, it's a great way to gauge customer feedback and try to get those first customers on board, whether approve or disprove what your theory is for that service or product. Communities are a great place to do that. So once again, you're not spending those thousands or millions of dollars in product development or service development just to find out that people aren't going to like that product or service. So communities are very, very good places to go to and highly recommended. Once again, whether that's Meetup, whether that's Facebook group, and then whether that's Reddit or any other communities that you might want to start or join. So we already talked about this. Be active. If you're not active, it degrades your brand equity and awareness. It's supposed to be fun. Social media is supposed to be fun. Have fun on it. Be truthful. Be active. Be passionate about it. Use it for good. We see most of the people do use social media for good, but we all know and all hear some news stories, or all hear some friends that may have gotten some negative feedback on social media, whether that's on a personal page or a business page. Respond to that negativity in a good way. Be creative on how you want to, because once again, with that whole first impression thing, how you respond to negativity on social media as a business or as a personal brand is either going to help or hurt your overall company or personal brand.
Yes. And I want to add something here, and based on some of my clients' experiences, there are people out there, especially your competitors, that are going to be posting negative stuff in your feed. I always say don't delete it, just reply with a positive message. Reply. Usually the interaction between the objections and you trying to defend your brand will help your customers to understand better what is it you do. Maybe the customer have the same objections, but then this other person who is active in a negative way is helping you actually to elevate your product, because you're going to be kind of defending your product. So I have seen a lot of like a post that been there, and then people start commenting good stuff, bad stuff, but just focus on the bad stuff and kind of try to defend yourself. Be nice, kill it with kindness, say, I understand your concern. This is not happening anymore, or we are taking all the precautions for this not to happen again, or I'm gonna give you a coupon for you to have a better experience. So when people see that you take care of your customers, even those angry customers, they're gonna say like, wow, these people are awesome. Even with this negative stuff that they have, they continue being nice to everybody. So that makes you vulnerable and make your customers see that you are real and credible.
Yeah, and that's important, especially in the larger demographics, which are the Gen Zers and the millennials, is if you're not real, they're not going to want to be a part of your company or brand anyways. So being able to show that you are vulnerable makes you a real person or a real company, and they're going to want to interact with you more. And as Connie said, being able to take care of those current customers will have a high possibility of retaining those current customers. And it's always cheaper to retain customers than it is to get new ones. So which is also why you need to make sure you handle negativity in a positive way.
Yes.
So once again, we touched on this as well. Do unto others as you would want do unto you. To be successful on online social media and all the social media platforms, research target market, your demographics, where they are, how you want to be portrayed, what you're trying to get out. Be honest, be vulnerable, like Connie said, and be active on social media. Social media is great for overall brand awareness, brand equity, and then also to increase your SEO overall as a company on Google, on Bing, on Yahoo, or any other search engine. Because they're so large, it's all about getting your brand out there and brand aware.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a guest on here that I believe has agreed to kind of share a little bit about how the incubator itself, and the Volusia Tech Hub, has helped her with social media, specifically kind of where she started, where she's at now. Her name's Miss Twinka Tyson, and I'll kind of let her introduce herself, maybe tell us a little bit about like what your business is, and then go into how we've helped with social media, if you don't mind. And you are on mute, by the way. So
like Zach said, I'm Twinka Tyson, and I am a wellness influencer. And what I do is help people to find whatever avenue it's going to take to make them feel better about themselves, to feel healthier, to overcome some of the problems that they're facing health-wise, but also help them with mindset and meditation and things like that. So teaching people that a healthy lifestyle is more than just one thing. And there's not just a magic pill, that you have to approach it from a holistic perspective. So when I first was approached and talked to with Connie and Zach, I was just starting out and I didn't really know where to go. I was doing a lot of the things that Zach has talked about today. I was putting information on my private Facebook page and trying to like engage some people from that perspective. And as we've seen from the class today, that's definitely not the way to go, because that actually can push people away. So Zach and Connie helped me to understand the importance of having a Facebook page that was dedicated to my business, and also helped me to understand a lot of the things that we've talked about today, such as the brand equity, about making sure that my photos were professional, that I had a color background and font that was going to be pleasing to look at and consistent. Also, a lot of the things that I'm still working on are making sure that I have the right kind of content and making sure that I have presented myself in a credible way. So these are all the things that I'm getting help with through the help of Connie and Zach. And this class in particular is just the next step. I have to say that I shared with them that I was getting a little bit discouraged because I didn't feel like I was getting any kind of attention on my page, but they were able to answer those questions so clearly that there's just, it's a process that you have to go through, and there's steps that have to be taken. And unfortunately, probably the COVID situation had, you know, kind of contributed to the way that I was feeling, because I needed to move to the next level. And now with this program, through these webinars that they're providing, they're going to be able to help me to do that. And so I'm on the next step of that now. And this class today was the information that I needed to move forward. I've taken so many notes, and I was taking pictures of the screen so that I can now implement all the things that you guys are teaching. And I'm really excited to go forward and attend the next session. Not next Thursday, but the next Thursday, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So our next session is going to be on how to sell online. So now we get more into the e-commerce platforms, how we promote to get those sales, how to make those conversions from social media to start really boosting an e-commerce sort of presence. That is July 9th, of 2020, the same time, 10:30 to 12 Eastern Standard Time. And once again, I just want to thank you, Twinka, for sharing your experience, what you've had so far. And I do want to reiterate one last time that it is a process. This doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. It's going to take, it could take 1 month, it could take 10 months, it could take a year. But the purpose is to remain consistent. Don't get down on yourself. Ask for help when you need it. Don't be shy. And just keep moving forward. And hopefully all businesses will grow. Hopefully our economy will get back out of the recession and continue to prosper as we are intended and what we are luckily here in the US for. So thank you so much for joining. We hope to see you guys on July 9th for how to sell online. Make sure you share, like, and let us know if you have any questions. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Twinka.